Hello ladies and gentlemen, once again this is Jeremy Smith, Photographer the Great. Not long ago we looked at Nikon's new D3300. Even longer ago, a really long time ago it seems like, we looked at the Nikon D3200 whenever it first came out. And I was really excited whenever the 3200 came out. 24 megapixels, 4 frames a second, extremely good low light performance, and even full manual video were a lot of the reasons why I was so excited about the 3200. The 3300 has come out now and it's got, mainly the same core features. It brought us the new Expeed 4 processor. It shoots at 5 frames a second now, and it even gives us 1080p video at 60 frames a second. So it's just kind of a natural evolution. Right now, in the US, the D3200 has an instant savings on it that makes it end up costing like $4.99, which makes it an unbelievable deal. Whereas the D3300 is priced at $649. So it's basically the same price that the D3200 was whenever it first came out. For the cost right now, I mean, unless you just need the little bit faster frames per second, or unless you really want that 1080p video at 60 frames a second, or if you just really want a very small and light camera, that'd be the main reasons why I would go to the 3300. In testing, which I am going to provide you guys with some sample photos to look at as well, but in testing I don't see just a really huge difference between the high ISO performance between the 3200 and 3300. There are some slight differences, but really both of them are very good. So in my mind overall, the 3200 still, it's still going to be the best camera for the money. As I mentioned in the 3300 review, I am a little bit disappointed that Nikon didn't build the Wi-Fi into the 3300. So no big deal there though. I mean, it still uses the same WU1A that the 3200 has. But really, well, there you have it. I mean, it's the same as the 3200 in that regard. So that's not really going to be a reason to upgrade. If you're really getting serious about your photography, in my opinion, that still is where some of the higher models come in. If you're really going to start adjusting your manual settings a lot, or if you need even more speed, something like the 5300 or the 7100 or even the 7000 would make more sense. But in my opinion, for the cost right now, the 3200 is still a camera that I'm just as excited about now as I was whenever it was first released. We're going to go ahead and take a look at both these cameras side by side, and I'll kind of show you some of the size differences I was talking about. I'm not going to go through all the picky details of each camera because, well, I've already done that in the 3300 review and the 3200 review. So if you want to see even more details about the cameras, take a look at those videos, but I am going to do a little quick size comparison here. Looking at both these cameras side by side, there's not a really huge difference in size immediately noticeable. It doesn't film very well, but if we look at these cameras side by side here like this, you will definitely notice that the 18-55 VR2 is a lot more compact. Basically it folds down just like the Nikon 1 series lenses do. So you just have this little button here that you press and the lens opens up. So yeah, basically if you're not using it, it becomes a little bit smaller. The other thing I noticed on the 3300 is that we now have an effects menu, which is something that we used to only find on the 5000 series DSLRs. But basically this effects menu, if you've ever used any other Nikon camera with this option, you'll see a lot of familiar things as far as, basically just all in-camera editing options. We've got a photo illustration in here and color sketch and toy camera effect and so forth. One of the newer things that we have in here is the HDR Painting Mode. Now, this isn't like the more advanced HDR mode that we find on the 5300 and higher DSLRs, but what this mode does is it allows you to take a couple shots. You just hold down the shutter button, it takes a couple shots there, and it combines them into a surrealistic looking HDR. So yeah, I mean, it is a little bit Instagrammy, but do keep in mind that a lot of people that are going to be using this type of camera are used to having a lot of in-camera editing options, or they may even be coming from a smartphone or something like that. So having that option built in is nice, and of course that's something that we will not find on the 3200. Whenever we look at it, there is no option for these settings, so no effects menu there. The other new effect that we have on the 3300 is the easy panorama mode, and basically if you've ever used any of Sony's cameras, it basically works exactly like their sweep panorama technology. So basically you have a panoramic image that ends up being stitched in camera, and you can hit the OK button and it'll actually scroll across the image for you just like that. You press the shutter button one time and then move the camera. So yeah, definitely think iPhone or think Sony Sweep Panorama whenever we think about how that works. So pretty good there. The other difference is this camera does of course shoot a little bit faster. So if you're going to be doing any type of action photographs or anything like that, having more shots in the sequence of action is always going to be good, because you're going to improve your chances of getting the shot that you want. So if you look back at previous Nikon models, like say for example something like a D90, even a D90 could only do 4.5 frames a second. This does 5. So we do see the lower end cameras starting to get features that are going to be more like or even greater than some of the higher cameras as technology moves forward. So that's always something that I consider to be a good thing. The other thing that we have on the 3300 is a little bit better battery life too. This is thanks to Nikon's new battery. This is the battery that's also used in the 5300 and the DF. It's called the ENEL 14A. This camera will still work with the ENEL 14 battery that's found in the 3200. Basically this new battery is the same thing, it just has a little bit more capacity. So you're able to get just a little bit more shots. You're able to get about 200 more shots out of this than you could get out of a 3200. So yeah, an improvement in battery life is always a good thing as well. All in all though, these cameras are pretty similar. Image quality wise, I haven't done a whole lot of testing between the two of them yet, but I will take some photographs and put them in the description below so you guys can take a look there. I do expect to see a little bit of a difference in terms of high ISO performance. I don't expect it to be world changing. Both these cameras of course are 24 megapixels, more than enough resolution. The 3300 has its optical low pass filter removed, so the possibility of having a little bit sharper image is there. Although once again, don't expect it to be something that's going to be world changing. Really, the 3200 still presents itself as a very, very good value. Currently in the US, it's going for a price of $499 with the 18 to 55 lens, whereas the 3300 is going for $649. So yeah, there's $150 difference between the two cameras. I still feel like the 3200 presents itself as a very good value, as I just said. For $150 difference, you're getting, identical pixel count. High ISO is going to be nearly identical as well. So unless you just need, or want some of the newer features in the 3300 as far as the HDR modes and effects menu, or if you just want a slightly smaller camera and slightly smaller lens, that mainly be the only advantages to the 3300. Otherwise, I say get the 3200 and put the rest of the money towards a good lens like a 35mm 1.8 or something like that. If anyone has any questions, definitely feel free to write me in the comments below, and of course don't forget to subscribe. Until next time, this is Jeremy Smith, Photog J the Great, signing off.